In the last episode, we learned that the musical instruments, such as the ones in LACMA's collection, are not just used at community gatherings and to make music, but also to communicate with animals and to act as instruments of healing. The Arhuacos see themselves as, the guardians of nature's health, of the health of the earth.
How exactly do the Arhuacos describe their responsibility, and what is our part in it?
Entonces ese es el gran mensaje que quiero dejar, no como persona, sino desde Duanama, es que las personas puedan entender ese principio que aún está conservado y estamos cuidando, valorando para mantener ese equilibrio, lo negativo, lo positivo, a que no se desordene y la humanidad pueda vivir mucho más pensando en nuestros hijos, nuestros descendientes, en todas las generaciones que vendrían. Cuida la naturaleza, que es los animales, el agua, el viento o la brisa, el alimento, las distintas especies de animales, bien sea doméstico o animales silvestres, están reflejados en este libro, en este escrito. Allí está conservado de cómo debemos cuidarlos o convivir con ellos.
So if you believe that everything is alive and that you need to constantly keep the balance between things that are alive so they can thrive, that transported into the objects in the collection, it means that all of these objects were created with that same spirit.
Ahora, la gran preocupación de nosotros hoy día, ¿qué ha sucedido? Cuando hubo la invasión de los hermanitos menores que violaron todos estos espacios, todos estos sitios sagrados, vino el desequilibrio, vino los distintos problemas.
What Hyson was saying is that the invaders came and took everything they wanted for themselves, and that this has greater consequences for everybody involved, and the consequence is climate change. The Arhuacos call themselves the elder brother, and we Westerners are the little brother. The little one has always more leeways and does things in a less responsible way, so that is why we are the little brothers, because we have done whatever we want with nature, whatever we want with the spaces. We haven't been really thoughtful and respectful.
History is on the side of the Mamos. It's not on our side. Climate change has become humanity's problem. It wasn't caused by humanity. It was caused by a narrow subset of humanity. And more importantly, the impacts of climate change are being felt, sadly, tragically, by those who played no role whatsoever in the creation of the problem.
This is the landscape at the mouth of the river Fundación, here in the Ciénaga Grande de Santa Marta. Hundreds of dead fish form a large white pile that winds its way along the shores.
Developers have dug a trench to drain the lagoons here. Mangrove swamps teeming with life. Construction company says that building a port here is necessary for Colombia's growing mining industry and will create 5,000 new jobs.
I'm here, we all are here to give a warning.
The animals die, the trees dry up, people become ill. Many new illnesses will appear. There will be no cure or medicine for them.
They say that we mutilate the world because we do not remember the Great Mother. That unless we do something, the world is coming to an end.
He has destroyed so much. Does he see? No. Understand? No. Start to understand, or what will happen? Right, that's it.
This is why the elder brothers wanted to meet us. They wanted us to know that they cannot do this alone. They want us to participate with them.
Yes, they feel like they have something to teach us. Yes, they feel like they have a message to give us, and that we don't understand or that we're doing things wrong. But they are still calling us younger brothers. We're still kin. It's still the same family. To stress this point about our responsibility in taking care of nature, Mamo Camilo led us to a sacred lagoon by the ocean. The lagoon at Catanzama is incredibly important for them. They don't use the lagoon for anything. They don't fish in it, they don't wash in it. It is left alone so that nature can do what it needs to do. It is to do entirely with keeping the balance and connection between the ocean and the mountain intact. Because it is encoded, or because the format of knowledge is in myths, right? It always sounds like it's just this superstitious, taboo, kind of nonsense, that's just something that they made up, rather than that it's actual knowledge that relates to reality and how the world and the ecosystem works.
The ecosystem of the swamp is maintained by the balance of nature that allows salt water from the sea to mix with fresh water from the rivers. If there is a shortage of river water, this balance is disturbed and the flora and fauna begin to die.
These mangrove lagoons by the sea depend on a healthy connection with the rivers that come down from the mountains.
Carlos Mauricio, who is a journalist and a mountaineer, took us up into the Páramo to see the sacred lagoons that form there. They are very different from the lagoons, the marshes in the coast, but they are completely connected.
El páramo es una formación peculiar y específica del trópico porque estamos en una montaña extremadamente alta, a 3.500 metros de altura, más o menos 11.000 pies, cerca de eso, en donde en cualquier otra latitud no habría vida. Y en este lugar tenemos no solo vida, sino una explosión de vida. Es el nacimiento de la vida en estas altas montañas.
Water is really vital for life. It is the beginning of life, and life cannot be sustained without water.
This explosion of life is reflected in the artworks that we have in the collection. And when we see a lot of water-related imagery, fish, catfish, sharks, birds that live near or on the water, pelicans, frigate birds.
These are waves. Oh, in the outside. No, it is not a wave. This is a snake. This has the same, then it rolls around.
Look, isn't that cute? So it's a little turtle.
Pues tenemos el bosque de niebla. Es un bosque que condensa la humedad y la envía a la atmósfera y la pone a circular sobre estos terrenos en donde cada gota de neblina, cada partícula de humedad es captada y a través de escorrentía, que es la caída gota a gota por gravedad, pues se van formando pequeños ríos que terminan siendo el Putumayo, el Caquetá, el Magdalena, el Orinoco, y nacen en este lugar.
So these huge rivers of Colombia all originate right here in the cloud forests of the Páramo.
Most societies around the world interact with nature not just on the basis of reciprocity, but on the basis of metaphor. And what do I mean by that? If you're raised to believe that a mountain is a pile of rock, you're going to have a different relationship to it than if you believe it's a deity that will direct your destiny. It doesn't matter what's right and wrong, true or false. The belief system has a profoundly different consequence in terms of the ecological footprint of a people. And what the Mamos are telling us is that not just the world is alive, but that human beings are not the problem, we are the solution. Because our prayers and our rituals literally maintain the cosmic balance of the world.
Our thoughts. That
Our
is
thoughts.
Our thoughts. That is what Mamo Camilo says.
Yeah, our thoughts.
Our thoughts.
And actually, when you get down to it, everything they are saying is not contrary to science, whatever you may think of the elder brothers in terms of the patrimony of the nation, but everything they say is simply an affirmation of insights that only the genius and wonder of science has been able to affirm.
I agree completely with you.
La montaña de la Sierra de Santa Marta y estos páramos que se encuentran también allá son una representación micro del planeta, por lo que está en el cinturón tropical y es tan alta que tiene todos los pisos térmicos. Entonces ellos saben manejar la fertilidad de la montaña de acuerdo a los ciclos solares y a los ciclos lunares y a los ciclos climáticos. Saben leer la interacción de todos esos factores y preservan la montaña en sus principales sus fuentes de agua, porque básicamente de los casquetes glaciares de la sierra se alimentan las lagunas y de ahí se alimenta una gran estrella hidrográfica en el norte de Colombia que pues provee de vida a las llanuras.
So essentially, the fertility of Colombia's land depends on these rivers that flow down from the páramos. But it's not only movement from top to bottom, it's really a cycle. Water from the sea evaporates, condenses, moves up the mountain and comes back down as rain. Fish migrate upriver, birds carry things upriver. So the health of the coastal wetlands with its mangroves is as essential for the páramo as the páramo's health is for the wetlands.
It means that all of these objects were created with that same spirit and that they represent these energies that keep those cycles alive. So we cannot see the objects only as objects, but really as these almost life forces created by men that were done many centuries ago, and here we have them. And they have to be again integrated into a function and to a way of thinking of them that respects that intention in their creation.
Throughout our many conversations with the Arhuacos, we got such a great insight into their worldview and their way of thinking about these things that, you know, it has completely changed my understanding of these artworks. But the question now is, how do we translate that into our exhibition? Museums have so long prioritized Western scientific knowledge at the expense of the Indigenous voice.